And I'm here with current overseas pro basketball player Case Bruton. Case, my friend, as always, a pleasure to get you back on the show today, my friend. How's it going?
Good, man. Good to be back on the show, Jack. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm even better now that I'm hanging out with you. I mean, this is I know you and I've been going back and forth. I know that you've had a whirlwind of an experience over the last few months. So if you could kind of speed everybody up, I mean, what's been going on in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. We talked when I was in Lithuania, and then I came back to the States. We talked again, and yeah, I was in the States. I was still doing some training, doing both my personal training and training clients and kids and things like that. And I started my first like real job actually. So I was training, and I also was working in the mortgage industry. And then just a couple weeks ago, I decided to come back to Israel, and now I'm back out here in Israel playing some more hoops.
Well, that's a very exciting timeline. I do want to ask though, what's that like when you go from professional basketball as your job, and then you're like you said at the mortgage firm, and then you come back to professional basketball? I mean, what's that kind of hopping around like?
Yeah, this is the first time I've done something like that. Since college, my one and only priority has been play basketball. So when I had been coming home, yeah, I've been doing the personal training, the individual and small group training, but still my main priority has been just staying in shape myself and playing basketball. So this was the first time, like I said, taking a real job, doing something besides bouncing the ball. So that in and of itself was an adjustment. I liked it a whole lot more than I expected. I really enjoyed it. I worked with great people, and coming out of that and coming into basketball again, where it's a full time thing. Man, it's been an adjustment. I've been out here 2 weeks now, and I shoot in the morning, go lift, practice at night, just trying to get my legs back. But it's different. It's different trying to go from that world back into this world and just get back into game shape and get my game legs back.
Yeah, I'm sure it's very, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm sure that's a lot for you to have to juggle with. Now, you learned that you were going to be playing overseas again very quickly, and then they wanted you over pretty. I mean, what was that kind of like? I mean, talk me through, finding out that you were going to be coming back to Israel, and then how you were pretty much, I mean, it was a week turnaround, right?
Yeah. So when I took this job doing mortgage, my boss was a professional baseball player. He played in the Angels organization, so he was very understanding of my situation. I told him, look, I'll take the job. I want to learn from you and work with you, but there's a chance that I might decide to play hoops again. And he said, that's fine. I understand it. So actually, the team that I'm playing with now, Maccabi Carmiel, my former coach in Israel, he came out of retirement and he's playing on the team. And so, the GM had been reaching out to me, and he had been reaching out to me earlier this summer. They've been calling me for months and months. And originally I was like, I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know if I want to do it. And then they reached out to me again, just a few weeks ago, and they said, look, if you want to do it, let's do it. And so I decided, you know what, it seems like a good situation for me. I miss playing hoops. I'm going to go ahead and make the journey across the world again to go play some basketball. So they said, we want you out here ASAP. The season had already started. They'd already played 3 games, and they're hoping that I could come out and help and make an impact on the team. So that's what I'm trying to do. I made the decision. In a few days, I was here.
Yeah, that's a very quick turnaround. Very, very fast. Just 1 minute you're sitting behind a desk, and the next minute you are out playing on a basketball court. That is a very quick week, if you will. Now, what's it been like playing with a former coach? Now he's actually playing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a really good player. Yeah, it's interesting, going from the dynamic of he's my coach to now, he's a teammate. So obviously I still have the same great respect, and I look to him for a lot of those same types of things, as far as reading the game and things like that. But it is a different dynamic that now we're teammates. So it's pretty cool. It's something I haven't experienced before, but it's been really cool so far.
How have you noticed your relationship with him change? I mean, going from player to coach to now teammates, what has that relationship been like, changing, if you will?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I mean, it feels a little more personal now, a little more, I think as a player, as opposed to a coach, you can be a little looser and joke around more and things like that. So, still it's business. We're here to win games and things like that, but it's also, having some fun, joking around, things like that where we can laugh a little bit more together.
Yeah, that's gotta be really nice. I mean, hey, I've never had that experience, I never played with a coach of mine, that doesn't happen very often, so that's a very unique, perspective that you have. Now, what's the season been like? I mean, I know getting back into the swing of things, I'm sure you're very exhausted, very tired. I know you and I were chatting a little bit off air about that. What's it been like getting your legs back underneath you and just getting back into the swing of things professionally?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it's been an adjustment. That's the best way to describe it. So I landed. I had kind of like a half practice and then a full practice and then boom, first game. So that was tough. It was like everything was short. Everything was short. I felt like jumping up for a rebound that I would normally snatch. It was like, oh man, that guy just took it from me. So anytime in my experience that I've flown overseas, it takes a little bit of time to adjust from the jet lag, from just the journey, the travel, things like that. So it's an adjustment, but I'm working hard to get back into my form. So gotta get my legs back, not be short on my jump shots.
Yeah, can't be short on your jump shots, man. Come on, what are you doing? Come on. We all know that. I even know that. I don't even play basketball anymore.
Come
No, I'm
on,
just
Jack.
kidding.
We know that.
I know, we know that. No, I'm just kidding. But that, I mean, like you said, I mean, that is, I mean, let's face it, like you said, about a month ago, you were sitting behind a desk, and now fast forward a month and you're playing basketball. That's a very quick turnaround. And it's a very quick amount of time for you to have to get ready, get yourself back in shape. And this isn't college basketball. It's not high school basketball. It's professional basketball. These guys are going to be playing an entire game and they're going to be going up and down, up and down. They're not going to stop. So you having to get adjusted to that, I'm sure it's been an experience and a half. What's it been like being back in Israel? I know, didn't you played initially a few years back in Israel? What's it been like being back in Israel now?
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to be back. I think Israel is a great country. Culture is really cool. And the people here in this town that I'm in and with this organization, everybody's great. I really like the manager. I like the coach. I like my teammates. Everybody's really cool, really welcoming. So it's nice to be back in Israel. I have made a lot of friends here, and it's a good situation. It's a really good situation.
Well, I think that's great considering the fact you're coming out of a very poor situation. And if anybody has not listened to that episode, go listen to it. I don't even remember what number episode it is, but you were very candid and I do appreciate that greatly. I had a lot of people actually mention they really enjoyed the episode about you talking about that experience in Lithuania, how challenging it was, and again, how unique it was in a negative way with what you had to deal with. And again, for the folks at home, go check that episode out. But getting back into your time here in Israel, how's the team look right now? I mean, how's the season been? How's the team doing? And really also just what is kind of your outlook for this upcoming year and for this team?
So we're a young team. When I came over, we were 0-3, and they wanted to make some changes, so they called me and asked me to come out and kind of hope that I could bring a little bit more of a veteran presence. Like I said, we're a young team. A lot of guys, haven't been in this league or haven't played the role that they're playing this year, things like that. So, I'm hoping to just bring a little experience to the team. Trying to get guys to talk and communicate and, play together, not just offensively, but defensively. So, hopefully we'll be able to turn it around and get things moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way to go about it, right? I mean, that's the best attitude to have. Now, what's it been like getting back to and getting used to again living overseas? I know that you were at home for a little while, so how's that been just kind of getting reacclimated to not living at home anymore?
Yeah, I've just been taking the first 2 weeks here to just be in the gym as much as possible. So, when you're overseas, it's a whole different schedule than being at home. So, I'm a lot of times practice, is at 8 p.m. and you finish practice late, we eat dinner late. So you go to bed late. But I, get up in the morning. I've been going to the gym and shooting. After I shoot, go lift, after I lift, come home and eat something, rest a little bit, and then practice in the evening. So, just being able to have the time to be in the gym, is what I need for my body. And it'll be a good thing. The adjustment to the jet lag and all that has come and gone. So I've been here for 2 weeks. I feel like I'm acclimated to my environment and everything. So, it takes a little bit of time always, but I've been through it before. So I kind of know what to expect at this point.
What's the schedule like game wise and how often you guys play? I mean, what are the usual days that games are? I mean, is it every day? Is it every other day? I mean, how does that kind of work?
So one thing that is a little bit frustrating to me, playing overseas in Israel here, especially, we play once a week. We have one game a week. That's it. And I think a lot of leagues are like that. Last year in Lithuania, because of COVID, they wanted to shorten the season. So they were doing 2 games a week, which I prefer. I want to be playing hoops. That's why I'm out here. But yeah, here in Israel, it's just 1 game a week. So, if you win a game, great. But if you lose a game, you have all week to think about that. You want to get back on the court and play the next game and try and get a win, but you have a whole week to wait for it.
That's very interesting. I've never heard. I mean, that's literally like the NFL, right? I mean, that's something that you don't really see or hear much about for basketball, especially with just how often and how I feel it's a lot easier to have that quick turnaround and have that quick bounce back where, hey, I can play on a Monday and then I'll be good to go by Thursday and then I can play again on Sunday. Once a week, like you said, it kind of drags out. You're thinking about the previous loss. Practices go a little bit longer, higher chance of maybe injuries or fatigue, whatever it might be. But all in all, I think that's still a very unique, interesting perspective. Now, how long does your season go? Is it all the way to December? I mean, how many games you guys playing?
Yeah, so we'll be playing once a week. Playoffs start, I believe, in April. So we'll be going through April, and we got to start winning some games so we make the playoffs and can make that push.
Yeah, well, that's a great thing, man. And wow, all the way to April and you play once a week. That is
Sure.
that's interesting. You
Yeah.
don't hear that much. I mean, that's what you'll have. I mean, I don't know how many weeks that is till now, but 40 some games maybe.
Yeah, I think it's less than that, but I think I haven't played in a ton of countries, but it is pretty common where overseas you don't play all that often. Once a week is relatively normal. I know, when I was playing in England, it was pretty much once a week. Also, there was some weeks where we played twice a week, but yeah, I mean the reality is most of the time once a week.
Interesting. Very interesting. Now, what's the fan reception like for your team and for the league? I mean, do you guys have a good turnout or are a lot of people supportive of the team?
Like I said, I've only been here for 1 game. So our first game that I was a part of was a home game. There wasn't a lot of people there was not a lot of people in the stands. I think that can turn around if we, start winning some games. I was talking to the general manager about it. He's like, we're not winning games right now. I want to invite people in the city to come watch, but I'm a little self-conscious about it. We're 0-3 right now. We need to start winning some games. So, hopefully we'll get some momentum, start winning some games, and people will start showing up and supporting us.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, hey, you've got all the support from us back home here. Obviously myself, Carp, who is off doing whatever he does. Usually probably working or doing whatever, who knows what. But I want to actually, and I just thought of this right now. What's the whole COVID situation like? And I mean, what was that like for you having to get back over there? Did you have to go through any sort of testing or anything or quarantining? And then once you arrive there, what are the league protocols like? Are they pretty strict still? I mean, what's kind of the landscape with COVID right now in your league?
So I'm sure, as you know, Israel was, pretty on it about the whole COVID situation. This time around, last time I was in Israel, it was really tight, but this time around was a little smoother. They do have something called a green pass, which is like a COVID passport, so to say. So when I came, they wanted to make sure that I was vaccinated. So, if you have your 2 vaccination shots and your second shot is within 6 months of, the present date, then you're good to go. If your second shot was more than 6 months ago, you need the booster shot, the 3rd shot. And if you have those, then you have a green pass. You're good to go. And if not, then I'm not exactly sure I didn't have to cross that bridge because I had my second shot within 6 months. But I had to get a test before I got on the plane in Los Angeles. And then when I landed, I had to get both a blood test and a swab test. And once those came back negative, then I was good to go. And both those were, pretty rapid. So,
Wow. Yeah. What a process. I mean, hey, you've got to go through it. You got to go through it. I totally get that. I totally get that. But that is definitely a very lengthy process to say the least. Now, I know that you were doing a lot of skill training. I know you had a lot of clients back in California and everything. I actually saw your little Instagram post. Hey, sorry, everybody. I had to leave overnight. I actually joked with Carpin for people at home. My roommate is good friends with Case. They played 3-ball basketball together, which for anybody that's watching this, you can see the 3-ball. There it is, right there, right there. And he and I have always, kind of talked about, just dealing with. Now I've lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me. But anyways, having to go through all of that, I'm sure is obviously, a lot. This is where I was going with this. Your clientele back home, right? Obviously, left, whatever. How's it been not, because I know you really enjoy doing that. I know you really like being around, and teaching and coaching. And I think that's something that you'll probably eventually get into. How's it been? I mean, have you been keeping in contact with them? And do you give them any, virtual stuff or video stuff to maybe work with when they're back at home?
I haven't been giving them any virtual or video stuff since I've been playing overseas. It's a good idea, and if they wanted to do it, I would do it for sure. But it's not something that I've done in the past. But I keep in contact with my players. I want to know how they're doing with their seasons, and just I love it when they keep me updated on how things are going. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool to have those relationships with players and see how they develop and pursue their own dreams.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, hey, you're teaching somebody that's going to be one day in your shoes, sitting across from a podcast host in a Zoom meeting for a podcast, playing for professional basketball. I know you were also doing a lot of fishing, and I'm sure you do miss fishing. Do you miss fishing at all?
Always, man. Always. I always miss fishing. Aside from basketball, it's my favorite thing in the world to do.
Yeah. So what do you? Because I've seen it on your social media. Like, I'm guessing you're deep sea fishing. I mean, what do you? What do you? I'm, as people say, a city dweller or city slicker, whatever you want to call me. So anything that's like outside of the city limits, I just think I don't even know what's out there. I live in a little bubble. But So what are you fishing? I mean, is it deep sea fishing?
Yeah. We're gonna have to get you out fishing, Jack, off the pine and onto the water.
I
But
don't know about
yeah,
that one. I don't know about that one.
deep
You,
fishing. My
yeah.
Yeah. Actually, in college though, I worked in Alaska. So my best friend and I, Mike Hauser, we played college basketball together. So we'd play college basketball, and then we'd have a little break in the summer. We'd run summer camps and have our summer session, and then we'd have a break. And he and I would fly up to Alaska, and we'd work up there, and we'd work as river guides. So we'd take people salmon fishing up there, and we'd do our workouts. We'd get in the local high school, but yeah, our job was to take people fishing and catch salmon. So yeah, I've done some rivers and some lakes and stuff like that, but my go-to is definitely getting on the boat and going deep sea fishing.
That's wild. Alaska. So how did you come across that? I mean, where do you find that job posting? Just, I guess, I mean, on the internet, right?
Well, a college professor of Mike and mine named Gilbert Hess, just we had a good relationship with him. We would talk to him, and it turned out he was a fisherman. And one day he was like, one of my good buddies owns a fish camp up in Alaska. If you guys are interested, I could probably get you a job up there. So, we jumped on that, and that's how that happened. So, and yeah, I mean, I still keep in contact with Dr. Hess, take gill fishing, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Just like basketball brings people together, so does fishing.
There you go. Exactly. That's a great way of putting it. I'm not the biggest boat person. And for anybody that's listening to this and knows why I don't like boats, you're probably chuckling to yourself. I had a very poor experience on a cruise a couple years ago. So I refuse to go on cruises. I refuse to go on boats. I have a theory. Well, I don't have a theory. I have a thinking of human beings are meant to be on land. There's a reason why we don't have gills. There's a reason why we don't have wings. It's because we are meant to be on the ground. So I just stay on the ground. And I also get a little weirded out about the sea if I'm real deep out, just because I don't see anything. There's nothing in my, sight. And I'm just like, okay, anything can go wrong here. And if it does, you're in big trouble. Have you had a scary situation like that?
I've never had anything where I, felt like my life was being threatened or anything. I've been out in some really, really bad conditions, really far offshore, like, 20-foot swells, 100 miles offshore, some really, really, really bad stuff. But I've always felt pretty comfortable. My dad's a really good captain, so when I'm with him, I feel good. When I take the boat out, I'll make sure to watch the weather, but I feel good. And yeah, no, it can definitely be snotty out there at times, but the ocean is a magical place. That's for sure.
Yeah, I guess it is. It's magical. Sure, we'll go with that. We'll leave it with we'll say it's a magical place. But Case, as always, my friend, a joy to get you back on the show. This is always a great time to chit chat, catch up, see how you're doing. I know the conversation goes every single direction with you and I. We're talking about fishing, Alaska, you name it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we can literally talk about the weather, whatever else. Are you going to do any fishing while you're in Israel? I mean, is there anywhere that you can go fishing?
There is, you can fish in the Mediterranean Sea, you can fish in the Red Sea in the south, you can fish in the Kinneret, which is the Sea of Galilee. But I've never done much fishing in Israel. We have a family friend, his name's Bob Claw, and he's married to an Israeli woman named Nomi. And before I ever came to Israel, because Bob fishes with us, and I asked Bob, what about the fishing in Israel? And basically Bob told me, Case, don't even bother. The fishing there is, it's just overfished, outfished. The only guys that are fishing are men trying to get away from their wives. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to bother with it.
Smart man. That is a very smart man. Yes, you are. You and Bob both very, very smart gentlemen.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey man, as always, a pleasure, a joy. I'll let you get out of here. Good luck this season, and let everybody know. I mean, is there anywhere that we can watch your games, or if we can stream them? I would love to tune in and watch.
Yeah, I can send you some links. A lot of it'll be like Facebook Live type stuff, but I can send you over those links.
Absolutely, man. I'd love to watch some basketball. You know that I am as big of a basketball nut as the next guy over. So that sounds good to
Sure.
me. Absolutely. Absolutely, my friend. Well, hey, as always, pleasure, a joy. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll be chatting soon. Good luck this year.
Always a pleasure to be on the pine with you. Thanks, Jack.